Yesterday we discussed about Newton's law of motion and impulse. Today we are going to discuss about conservation of momentum. According to this, what does it mean that for an isolated system or body, total momentum is always conserved so when we talk about conservation of momentum, we can understand it by taking some example, but here the simple isolated system means when the external force on an object is zero. According to Newton's second law of motion, Newton's second law what says? The rate of change of momentum equals to the force external. But if external force is zero, the rate of change of momentum is zero, and it is only possible when, according to the definition of differentiation, that here the p, which is momentum, is going to be constant. Means for a body or a system, if this is there, no force is applied, then the total momentum will remain constant. When we talk about total momentum remains constant, it simply means that it can be understood by one example. Suppose there are two bodies A and B. And suppose its momentum is Pa and its momentum is P. Now, no external agency is applying any force. As there is no agency, यहाँ पे कोई भी नहीं है जो इसके ऊपर फोर्स लगा रहा है, मतलब ये दोनों ऑब्जेक्ट सपोज दे आर इन मोशन आल्सो, they are in motion. If these two objects which are in motion and their initial momentums are some mass, some velocity, some mass, some velocity. Now they are going to strike with each other, impact. On the way they are having the impact. During this impact, the impact of B will be on A. If this is B, it can be taken as a A, it can be taken as a B. The momentum of this A and this is here. This will put an impact on, so A will put an impact on B and B will put an impact on A. During this, there will be change in momentum of A and as well as the change in momentum of B. So because if one object is, so what will be the change in momentum? So from here we can understand change in momentum equals to this force into delta T. So during this period of time, there will be Newton's third law will be applied. Means every action has equal and opposite reaction. So this, if it is your A, then force on A by B, force on A by B is this FAB, and force on B by A, force on B by A. This is action, this is reaction. So actually when you talk about the law of conservation of momentum, you have to use the second law. This is your second law of Newton. This is your second law of Newton, and once again let me finish this. So force on A by B is when the B applied the force on A. So जब भी हम किसी ऑब्जेक्ट पे फोर्स लगाते हैं तो उसका मोमेंटम चेंज होता है, फोर्स इक्वल्स टू चेंज इन मोमेंटम. सो अभी राइट नाउ द फोर्स इज अप्लाइंग ऑन ए, तो ए के ऊपर फोर्स लग रहा है बी के द्वारा, तो यहाँ पे जो फोर्स हो जाएगा इस इक्वेशन से, तो हमारे पास क्या हो जाएगा, फोर्स ऑन ए बाय बी विल बी चेंज इन मोमेंटम ऑफ ए, that is final minus initial, upon in some delta time delta t. So you can write it like this also, you can take it like this. Change in momentum is zero, means momentum there is no change. Change is zero, मतलब no change. If no change means it is constant. Change is zero. This is your change. P for momentum is zero, means there is no change. No change means constant. So we are trying to understand the law of conservation of momentum by taking this. And if you understand it, Newton's first law, this is your action actually. Now what will be the reaction on it? So force on B by A is the reaction, and that's why that will be change in momentum of B upon delta T. Now according to Newton's third law of motion, every action has equal and opposite reaction. So force on A, this is equal and opposite. Equal and opposite means force on A by B equals to minus force on B by A. That's why it is P dash A minus P A by delta T equals to P dash B minus P B upon delta T. Delta T to delta T cut. If you simplify, you will get P dash A plus P dash B equals to P A plus P B. It simply means that suppose after striking they are moving, they collide and they are moving. So it means the net momentum after impact is equals to the net momentum before impact. So it is total momentum before impact equals to total momentum after impact. This is your law of conservation of momentum. So to understand the law of conservation of momentum, first you have to write the law, then after you have to write, after writing the law, after this we will be talking about the equilibrium of a particle. We are going to discuss about equilibrium of a particle. In physics, the meaning of equilibrium is simple, that when an object is under the two or more forces, it can be understood that when a particle or a body net force is zero, it means either it is at rest or if it is moving with constant velocity. When we said that in these two conditions the particle will be known in equilibrium, कि या तो उस पर जो भी फोर्स लग रहा है, मैं ऐसा नहीं बोल रहा, या तो फोर्स जीरो है या फिर नेट फोर्स जीरो. फोर्स जीरो है तो रेस्ट में होगा, और नेट फोर्स कब आता है? when there are two and more forces are acting on a same particle at the same time. So for example, if we say that this is the particle, on say some force is applying here, say F1, some force is applying here, say F2, and one force is also applying here, say F3, even it is at rest, it means it is in equilibrium. If three forces are acting on a particle, even if the particle is not moving, it simply means that the net force on particle is zero. Why it is going to be zero? Because the resultant of these two is going to become by law of parallelogram F1 plus F2, and that is equals to F3. As the F1 and F2 these are vector quantities, these two are in equal and opposite, so here I have to put the minus, or if you take this all, you will find that it means even three forces are acting on a same particle, but the resultant of three vectors is in such a way that its resultant or the net force is zero. It means the particle will be said in. अब आता है हमारे पास कॉमन फोर्सेस. When we talk about common forces, it is your friction force. It comes about your tension force. Restoring force and reaction force and normal force. These are some well-known forces or common forces. Friction force. We will be talking about a friction force. Suppose this is a box. Which is lying on the ground. If you want to move it with some external force F, but it is not moving. Why? When suppose you applied this much force, it is not moving. When you increase the force, it is not moving. But when you increase the force equals to this much, now it has moved. So what was there? Where your force gone? आपका force जो आप apply कर रहे थे वो कहाँ गया? तो ऐसा बोला जाता है कि यहाँ पे जो ये surface है, तो यहाँ पे हमारे पास जो भी ऑब्जेक्ट्स होते हैं उनके सरफेस में जितनी भी सरफेसेस होती हैं वो कंप्लीटली स्मूथ नहीं होती. All surfaces are not completely smooth. They have some So it is said that two objects are having this is valleys and hole, and this is also, suppose these two objects when are lying on each other, physics says they are going to interlock. When these are going to be interlock, जैसे साइकिल का चेन उसके फ्लाईव्हील में फंस जाता है तो इंटरलॉक होता है, ठीक है. आप उसको आसानी से एक को घुमाओगे तो दूसरा उसको लेकर जाएगा. Why it is? Because there is a very high friction, means lots of friction is there. So when the valleys of one object is unlocked with the holes of the other object, the object which is lying on the surface, even if you are applying some force, it is not going to move because of there is a force of friction in opposite direction. So it is said that due to the roughness of the surfaces, the two surfaces which are lying on a same each other interlocked with each other, and due to this easily you are not able to move them by applying some external force, because of if your force is not going to be extend that the minimum force, and that is your force of friction. So it is always force of friction is there, and force of friction is of three types: static friction and kinetic and rolling. So we are going to be discuss that friction force is an opposing force friction force always always acts in the opposite direction of the external force. And if you want to move or when you applied a force on a table or a big object, it's not going to be move. Why? Because there is static friction. Static friction is a friction till the object is just tends to move but not moving at all. ओके वस्तु जब मूव करने को है लेकिन मूव नहीं कर पा रही है तब तक वो स्टैटिक फ्रिक्शन में आता है. एक बार जब वस्तु पे फोर्स लगाने के बाद वो सरफेस पे चलने लगती है तो उसको काइनेटिक फ्रिक्शन बोलते हैं. लेकिन जब वही वस्तु रोल करते हुए चलती है उसी सरफेस पे तो उसको रोलिंग फ्रिक्शन बोलते हैं. नाउ वी विल बी नोइंग मोर अबाउट दिस दैट व्हाई द फ्रिक्शन कॉजेस. फ्रिक्शन होता क्यों है? तो मैंने बोला कि roughness of the surfaces is the reason behind the friction, and friction is one of the common forces in our day-to-day life. That's why we are studying about it. So friction, and this is tension, which is string and restoring force, reaction force and normal reaction force. This all we have to discuss. Now, it is observed that this is all about it. So, friction is a force which always resists the motion of one object on the other surface, one surface on the other surface. Okay, now the experience that the applied force exceeds a certain limit, the body begins to move. It is from the experiment that the limiting value of the static friction is independent of the area of contact, and so mathematically we can also understand that up to a limiting, कि जब तक आप एक लिमिट के, जब तक आपका फोर्स, आप जो फोर्स अप्लाइड कर रहे हो, जब वो फोर्स एक ये जो फोर्स आप लगा रहे हो इसके ऊपर और इसका ओवरकम करना है, तो व्हेन जस्ट टू मूव, जब आपका फोर्स बहुत बढ़ जाएगा और इसको ओवरकम कर लेगा तो एक एफएक्स की मैक्सिमम वैल्यू आपको मिल जाएगी जब सरफेस को बॉडी की वजह से, आपकी वजह से, व्हेन यू आर अप्लाइंग द फोर्स. तो यहाँ पे जो फ्रिक्शन फोर्स है जब उसका एक मैक्सिमम लिमिट आ जाएगा उसके बाद ये बॉडी जो है रेस्ट से मूव पे कर जाएगा. तो रेस्ट से ये जस्ट टू मूव होगा बट नॉट मूविंग, तो जस्ट रेडी टू मूव. तो ये मूव करने को रेडी होगा लेकिन मूव नहीं कर रहा होगा. तो इस टाइम हमने बोला कि ये डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल है n. व्हाट इज n? इट इज बिलीव्ड दैट इफ दिस ऑब्जेक्ट हैज मास then n is the normal reaction force. This is reaction force, normal reaction. Normal why? Because it always acts on the 90 degree of the surface. If this is the surface, this is 90 degree, parallel lines, transversal. So it is the normal reaction force, and this is your mg. So actually normal reaction force is this is your action, this is your reaction. So it is your action, then this is reaction. But to define the friction mathematically, we need the reaction, not the action. Weight, we are not talking here about the weight, but it is a common man thinks that more the weight, more the friction. It's your right. But instead of talking about the, it is also true that the normal reaction force is equals to the weight of the object. It is true at all. कि जो फ्रिक्शन फोर्स होता है, देखो अगर मैं आपसे बोलूं कि आप एक बड़ी चट्टान को खिसकाओ, सपोज 150 किलो का पत्थर पड़ा है, रॉक पड़ा है, तो आपको मैं उसको तो आप नहीं खिसका पाओगे। लेकिन मैं आपसे बोलूं 20 किलो का स्टोन है तो उसको शायद आप मूव करवा दो। रीजन, क्योंकि 20 kg जो है तो उसका नॉर्मल रिएक्शन फोर्स कम है, तो उसका फ्रिक्शन भी कम होगा, तो नॉर्मल रिएक्शन बढ़ेगा तो फ्रिक्शन भी बढ़ेगा, और ये दोनों एक दूसरे के प्रोपोर्शनल होते हैं। जैसे जैसे आप वेट बढ़ाओगे वैसे वैसे नॉर्मल रिएक्शन बढ़ेगा और वैसे वैसे ही फ्रिक्शन बढ़ेगा। तो ये बढ़ेगा तो ये भी बढ़ेगा, ये कम होगा तो इसलिए प्रोपोर्शनल है। और यहाँ से हम जब बोलेंगे कि स्टैटिक फ्रिक्शन का एक जब मैक्सिमम वैल्यू आ जाएगा तब ये बॉडी जस्ट रेडी टू मूव, यहाँ से खिसक जाएगा। मैं खिसकने वाला वर्ड यूज़ कर रहा हूँ, ठीक है। जस्ट टू मूव का मतलब खिसक जाएगा और ये हमारा ये आ जाएगा। यहाँ पे म्यूएस जो है वो एक कोएफिशिएंट, एक कांस्टेंट है जिसको हम बोलते हैं कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ स्टैटिक फ्रिक्शन। अब आपको बता देता हूँ मैं कि जो सरफेसेस होती है उसकी पहचान म्यूएस से होती है। अगर म्यूएस इक्वल्स टू 0 है तो फ्रिक्शन लेस सरफेस हो जाएगा, और अगर म्यूएस का कोई जो नॉर्मली म्यूएस का जो वैल्यू होता है वो हमारे डे टू डे लाइफ में जो म्यूएस की वैल्यू होती है वो ज़्यादा 1 और 1 पॉइंट के समथिंग बीच में जो है लाई करता है। तो म्यूएस आपका नॉर्मली जो है दुनिया की जितनी भी फ्रिक्शंस होती हैं उसमें नेचर ऑफ द सरफेस इन कॉन्टेक्ट फॉर द कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ स्टैटिक फ्रिक्शन, दिस इज, तो इट डिपेंड्स ऑन ओनली नेचर ऑफ द सरफेस। नथिंग एल्स, मीन्स जैसा सरफेस होगा उस पर ही फ्रिक्शन डिपेंड करेगा। जैसे मैं आपको बोलूं कि आप गाड़ी लेके एक रफ सरफेस पे जा रहे हो तो वहाँ पे सरफेस रफ है तो म्यूएस बढ़ जाएगा, म्यूएस बढ़ जाएगा तो आपका स्टैटिक फ्रिक्शन भी बढ़ जाएगा। लेकिन अगर आप स्मूथ रोड पे जा रहे हो तो वहाँ म्यूएस कम हो जाएगा तो आपका फ्रिक्शन फोर्स भी कम हो जाएगा। बाकी आपकी गाड़ी का मास तो वही रहने वाला है, मतलब वेट वही रहने वाला है, मतलब आपका नॉर्मल रिएक्शन फोर्स वही रहने वाला है। तो दे आर इंटरकनेक्टेड विद ईच अदर and it's no need of talking about this the value, but it lies between 1 to 0.5 to 1 something, and that's why this is the static friction. And here we also talk about that when you are talking about the static friction, it means the friction force which is acting till the body is just to move or ready to move but not moving at all, ठीक है। तो आप जब किसी वस्तु को खिसकाने की कोशिश करते हैं तो वो खिसकने वाली हो लेकिन अभी तक खिसकी नहीं हो, उसको हम ऐसा बोलते हैं, ठीक है। बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट्स हैं। आप ये चैप्टर बहुत बेसिक और फंडामेंटल चैप्टर होता है ये सब। ऐसे हम टेंशन्स की बात कर सकते हैं और इसके लिए हम 5.6 एग्जाम्पल कंसिडर करेंगे। दैट वी विल बी टॉकिंग द नेक्स्ट टाइम। टुडे वी डिस्कस अबाउट द फ्रिक्शन फोर्स, दैट sometimes we need the friction, as you have seen at your homes. Some of times accident occurs, some of the family members or the persons dies because of they are sleeping in the bathrooms. Why? Because the surface, when we use the soap regularly, the surface becomes smooth. That's why the μs becomes less and your body's weight is as such, so their friction value becomes less, and that's why you are going to slip, and someone is going to be slip, and that's why we always try to produce the such type of tiles and roads which must have some friction to hold the tires, to improve the grip. Okay, for the grip, you know, we in tires, if you have seen, there are some specific type of design is preferred for the to produce the friction.